G'day, legends. G'day, superstars. Peps and J-Dog are back. Round 2 review. My goodness gracious. What a great time to be alive. How good is football, J-Dog? I know he's just trying to get his voice suppression or his noise echo or whatever going on with everybody at the moment. So just give him a moment. But cracking weekend of football. Peps is back, the 377-game superstar of the East Keilor Football Club. The co-host with the most, Jamie, the J-Dog Wallis. You know him as the J-Dog. I know him as the second best football mind on this podcast. And we haven't found the first. How are you, big boy?
I'm very well. How are you, Peps?
Mate, I am pumped. Great weekend of footy. Our team's got let down. Something chronic on the weekend. Lots to talk about. Lots to chat about. The Jew boy. Jew boy is on the chat already, talking up his Kangaroos. Lots to talk about. They are dead set on fire tonight, but it's going to be a bumper show. I'll tell you what, it's a great time for football because if you think about who we picked for top 8 and all that sort of stuff, it looks like a dog's breakfast at the moment. We haven't got any idea about football, yet we still put on a show every single week because we love our community, we love our listeners, and we love absolutely talking about the single greatest football sport in the world.
Peps, I'm on a new machine, so my camera's looking terrible. I look like I'm like the ghost of
Jaden Stevenson's dad.
Ghost of something. The ghost of something. So I'm wearing a white shirt with a washed out camera. Like I really am trying to like turn it on here. But Peps, another bumper records this week. Yeah, people are loving the AFL being back.
Mate, I tell you what, people are loving it. And I'll tell you how much they are loving it. J-Dog, I have something to premiere on this show. For everybody watching right now, you are going to get the premiere of a premium product that I am launching for the lace outers out there. Now, get your wallets out, everybody, because this is going to go live if there's enough demand. I have got on the first official T-shirt of Like a Cork in the Ocean quote series. We're going with Like a Cork in the Ocean first. That's Dennis Cometti from the 1992 Grand Final, ladies and gentlemen. Like a Cork in the Ocean. We're also going to be going with a bit of Yablet. We're also going to be going with a Healy off, Allingworth on, bloody weak as piss one. We're also going to be going potentially as well too with We Stuck It Right Up 'em, EJ style, and many, many more. So if you're liking a bit of the shirt ski, I'll get a photo on the Facebook page, but I'll just show like a Cork in the Ocean, D Committee, 1992 with the lace out logo underneath. I tell you what, if you wear this to a nightclub, you are guaranteed to get rejected, but you're going to look amazing at the football. So stay tuned because if you're keen, we're going to have them up and out there for everybody. But I'll tell you what, do you want to get stuck into the latest straight away?
Let's go into it.
And then we'll get into it because before Ruboy goes to bed.
Who? I don't know Ruboy. Who's Ruboy? You mean Jew Boy?
Yeah, I mean Jew Boy. Before Ruboy goes to bed, we want to show his boys in the top 8. Have a look at this. The Sydney Swans with a massive percentage of 232.7. I'm amazed Buzzers is online already, but shit Kilda ain't shit Kilda anymore. They're back to the Saints with their 150th anniversary game coming this week. Essendon sitting at third spot as well too. Collingwood on 8 points. North Melbourne in the top 8, getting a bit of altitude sickness, no doubt, in 5th position. Then you've got the Tigers and Carlton who had the draw, sitting on 6 points. My boys, the D's, sitting on 4. West Coast on 4. GWS on 4. Port Adelaide on 4. Brisbane Lions with a cracking win on Friday night. And then we've got the zero squad. Fremantle, Geelong, Adelaide, Gold Coast, Western Bulldogs, and Hawthorn. J-Dog, quick question for you. Looking at this ladder so far, I'm going to break this into thirds. Yep. So, first one, top 6. Out of those top 6 teams, who has impressed you the most?
Carlton.
I'd say Collingwood.
Yeah. Okay.
Middle
Peps.
Yes.
I'm bringing a stat to you here. This is the first time the ladder has looked like this since 1957, with nothing but VFL representation in the top 8. If you take the Sydney Swans as the Bloods.
J-Dog, your stats have been magnificent the last few weeks. I don't know what you've done. You've worked extremely hard.
I'll tell you what. You want stats, you come to me.
Okay.
I've always said that, Peps.
You know you haven't. I've got 250 plus episodes where you haven't mentioned it once. Middle 6, 7 to to 12.
Surprised me.
Mm.
Too early to start calling it now. I think Brisbane being as low as they are probably is the biggest surprise to. Yeah. No surprises there.
You know, middle ground really can't do much because it's only one win. It's probably the bottom six. Looking at it now, out of that bottom six, which is surprising you the most? And maybe not the way that in terms of their points, but who has been putrid?
Gold Coast.
Gold Coast have been putrid? I'm going Western
Putrid
Bulldogs.
since the day that they were around.
Oh, leave them alone. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. I would go as far as saying Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that one.
Actually, Fremantle are worse because they promise so much. They promise so much. But Western Bulldogs, hey, what about you, listeners? Throw it in the chat who you think has been absolutely shocking. And for the listeners,
Hawks, Eagles.
Anybody in that bottom.
Bullies, hater.
Absolutely putrid.
I've got Tom Woody on me.
Who? You got who? Tommy.
He's on me. Call me a hater.
Hey, now, a couple of things I want to quickly go through before we rip into the big things now. But round 2 ladder, we'll have a chat about some of those teams sitting at the top and the ones sitting at the bottom. I want a special shout out to Tori tonight. She's joined us live, like Tori Williams. Absolutely legend. Hasn't been able to get to us the last couple of weeks, but she is joining us live. So I cannot wait to catch up with her later on when the D's go round again. So welcome, and to everybody joining us live, welcome again. It is going absolutely cocoa bananas right now. Hey, J-Dog, quick stat for you. Do you know it's been 6,779 days since Essendon won a final?
No, but I tell you what, Peps.
Mm-hmm.
This is the year.
You reckon it's the year?
This is the year for the Essendon.
Finally, they get to fly up to win that Premier. They've been pretty impressive the first couple of weeks, haven't they?
Wow, I mean, making the ruthless call of bringing the old ex-captain to the bench. Wow. Sorry, mate.
Geez, he wasn't happy with that. Old Daiso was not happy with that when it comes to that. But they've been playing some great footy. I'm also going to throw a special little shout out to the Collingwood Magpies as well. But we're going to get into that around the grounds because I think what we need to do before we get into all that fun stuff is get into really why we're here. And it's going to simply come down to this, my friend. It's time to spin the magnets. And we're going with the 3 voters. I'm starting with, actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm starting with the 3 voters tonight.
Go positive, Pips.
We're going to start with the positive. So 3 voters. First up is
3 votes.
Rightio, 3 votes. First and foremost, chucking out the votes for me.
What'd you do?
Well, I've also got my beautiful Like a Cork in the Ocean t-shirt.
Yeah.
Which will be on sale very, very shortly. But I both picked GWS and Adelaide to lose.
I don't feel like, okay, right.
I picked that, and I'm pretty happy with myself because when you play in 37-degree weather, you are going to lose each and every single time.
I don't feel like you went that far out of a limb, though, to pick those two.
It was West Coast, let's be honest, and Adelaide at home. So I've got a pretty good mind for the great game that is.
You and 99.9% of every tipster in the country at the moment, yeah, you're on money.
Maybe, but at least I was willing to put my hand up and say, I got that one right.
A bit of self-flattery, yeah, okay.
Well, you know, somebody's got to flatter myself, and it's definitely going to be me. All right. So that was the first one I wanted to highlight. The second one is bounce back footy. Carlton, Brisbane, West Coast had shocking efforts in round 1 and were able to bounce back and bring something to the yard in their games. Carlton had a great win over the Cats, who are really looking vulnerable. They look shithouse at the moment. Has Father Time caught up with them, J-Dog?
Strong, Peps.
Well, we are strong here. We just say it how it is, and that's how we feel right now. So they were putrid.
Okay.
Brisbane, Freaky Friday'd it, like our 2 teams. Got absolutely dominated week 1, dominated week 2. If it wasn't for the blackout, we would have lost by 10 goals. That's how putrid Melbourne were. But Brisbane, to all their credit, played cracking football on Friday night and deserve the kudos that they get. They should be technically in the 8 and we should be out. But because of the percentage, those things happen. And West Coast, great win against the GWS, which was really close for quite a while. And then they just happened to take it away. And Waterman up forward, my goodness, did he look good? Tim Kelly looked good. All the usual, Sheed, Jaden Hunt. It was like the West Coast of old. They were strong and they were bold. They weren't from Tigerland, but they just played free-flowing, running football, something that they have not done for almost close to 2 years. So good luck to those 2 teams. And the third one is, I've just got to say this, J-Dog, Max Gawn. Thank goodness it's only 4 to 6 weeks.
At the moment.
at the moment, 4 to 6 weeks. But I'm taking it because it was looking pretty scary there right about one stage as well too. So, anything you want to add? Anything that caught your eye? Any votes that you want to give?
Anything that I want to talk about? No, not really. Not really. We'll talk about the games later on, so that's where I'll talk about some of the stuff.
Is that where you bring it? Is that when you bring it?
Is that when I want to bring it? Yes.
Well, that's when you. Well, you know who's bringing it right now, don't you?
Who's that?
Haley off, Ellingworth on. Bloody weak as piss.
All right, I'll tell you who was absolutely weak as piss. And it's just, there's low-hanging fruit, and then there's fruit that's literally at your toes. And it's anything to do with the North Melbourne Football Club, Caroline Wilson, getting stuck into Clarko from coaching from the bench and hugging his players and getting excited about a game and high-fiving them on a game they won by 1 point.
They were up by 25 at the time, or 23 at the time.
Matter. This team has won just as many games this year as they did for the entire year last year.
So are you happy?
I'm happy. Of course, you've got to be happy for them.
But the drag is for Caro. You want Caro to get off her bandwagon.
Get off North. Get off Clarkson. It's just, there's no point. Why can't you just say, hey, well done, enjoy the moment? And I'll just let you know, if you want to talk about coaching from the boundary, Simon Goodwin did it and won a flag. So it does work for some coaches. All right? So just get off their back. It gives me the shits every time coaches get kicked for stupid reasons.
Not the only coach has been kicked, though, this week.
Oh, I'm going to kick some more as well, too. Hey, you want to get stuck into a couple others? Ross Lyon and Brad Scott. You've been back 5 minutes. Not even that. And they're asking for the bounce to be banned at centre bounces. What do you want to do? Oh, because it makes it hard for the umpires.
Wasn't Brad Scott just at the AFL, the rules area?
Oh, it's just pathetic, J-Dog. Like, any time that they just want to come out and say, you know what? We're going to get rid of it. It's a skill. Don't worry about the decision-making, which is all your fault, Brad, because you didn't make any changes whilst you were there or you made it harder. Umpires didn't have a problem bouncing it for over 120 years or 110 years. Why is it the last 10 years it's made it so hard? Oh, because they come full-time. It's a skill. Learn it. And if you can't do it, throw it up. But it makes our game unique. And we're getting rid of everything that makes our game unique, and it gives me the shits. So to you two, just deal with it, all right? You're not even – if a bounce goes skew-if, just leave it. The callback is what ruins it. Just if it goes skew-if, too bad. That's the way it is. It doesn't have to be even for both teams. Christ almighty. Just if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. All right. Slow ball movement. I don't know if you noticed, but the theme of the weekend, the theme of the season so far has been fast, frenetic football.
Mm-hmm.
Freo.
Is that the only team you're going to throw in there?
The Doggies. Gold Coast. You could almost have a sleep between each of their possessions. They are so slow with the ball. They're so slow in transition. They're so slow moving back. No wonder you're getting slaughtered. You're trying to play a style of football that was out of vogue 24 months ago. It does not work. Chaos footy is what reigns supreme. And if these teams don't hurry up, one of those coaches is going to be sacked pretty quickly. And I think I'd have to go with... I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But it's not the one I'm really too happy about. But
what is it about at Peps? Are they getting carved up too quick on the turnover?
The slow ball movement means that you're not confident in taking the risks. And when you don't take risks, it gives the opposition time to plan how they set up behind the ball. And it makes it harder for you to set up for your forwards. And that's why you're not kicking scores.
Okay.
And
so on notice already. Clubs are on notice from you already.
Clubs are on notice with me already. Something has to change because the style of football that these two teams are playing, you're not going to be making You're not going to be even making finals. And if you do, you'll be lucky to get through the first week.
Can you just imagine if Carlton played slow football, that had a win, and then the song at the end, you'd be asleep. That's the most boring song in the AFL with the most boring brand of football if they were playing slow.
We are the Navy.
Don't even. The
Navy snooze. When they roll that one out, absolutely. And last one but not least, and I have to give this guy a whack, Max Gawn.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh, no.
He's getting dragged. For almost 24 hours, you made my life hell, Max, with the prognosis about your knee. But then we found out it was only a medial strain, so then I put you into the 3 votes category.
God, he carried on a bit, didn't he?
Oh, shut up.
He carried on. They carried on the
Take
7
more
broadcast.
went down like that. You wouldn't even be with a black armband on.
I was sick of it. By Saturday afternoon, I was done. I was like, come on.
Most important player at Melbourne. Who's your most important player at Port Adelaide?
For me?
Yeah. You didn't have any on the weekend like us.
Calm down. I don't know. Most important players at the moment. We're a team. We're a well-oiled system.
What a wanker you are. Hey, you know how I said there's no iron team, but there's 5 in individual brilliance?
Yes.
You know who's brilliant? Will Ashcroft. How good is this bloke? Brisbane young gun Will Ashcroft has been rewarded for his impressive performance against the D's with the round 2 AFL Rising Star nomination. Son of 3-time premiership player Marcus had 31 disposals, 9 clearances, and kicked the goal in the Lions' 11-point win over the D's. Okay, and the 18-year-old's 9 clearances was an equal game high. Only Clayton Oliver had more disposals and also hit the scoreboard. He's the first player to have a game of 30-plus disposals, 9 clearances, and 1+ goal in his first 2 career games. Do you know who the previous one was?
Nope. Probably Fryth.
My love child, Toby Green.
Okay.
How good is Toby Green? So he's the rising 2. Look at that. The Cheezel round 1. Son of Marcus round 2. How good is it? And have a look at this, right? They've all joined. Buzzers on now. Hulsey Julesio is back with us as well, too. This is an absolutely cracking week. Tommy Roke is here. All the all-star lineups are joining us today. The chat is going berserk. And also, another one being thrown out is Jack Lukosius for his just lazy football on the weekend.
Yeah. Cheezel also robbed not get it 2 weeks in a row almost.
What's that?
Cheezel.
Oh, they should give it.
He should have him 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row. The cheese. All right, J-Dog, it's time to go around the grounds. Now, we know who's going to bring us around the grounds. It's the world's greatest newsman, and that is...
It's time for Around the Grounds with Laceout's #1 newsbreaker, Jamie Wallis. Over to you, big fella.
Peps.
Yes, big boy.
Can I localize this for me this week, please?
Yes, let's go for it.
There has been talk of another AFL team potentially joining the AFL, and the rumours are coming from South Australia as a potential spot for a new AFL team.
All right, let's just open this one up a little bit. Okay, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, there was talks. I think it was raised on one of the footy shows over there. Maybe it was like Robbie and Bix or something like that. I can't exactly remember. The boys will jump on in a second. Tell us what it was. Then basically there is a potential for a third Adelaide team to join the competition. Now, there's only really a couple of big teams over there. One of them is already playing in the AFL, a genuine football team named Port Adelaide.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is Norwood, the Redlegs.
Wow.
Probably the second biggest AFL and probably the biggest competitor to Port Adelaide in the roaring 90s that we had. So, Peps, could you see a third team working in South Australia? And do we have a big enough town to support a third team?
Okay, well, I live in Victoria, so it's a bit hard for me to bring that one in. But this is what I'll say. I don't think it's going to be a South Australian team. Tasmania will probably be the next. We know that for certain.
Absolutely.
You may or may not know that the AFL have already sent up a contingency to another state. Or is it a territory? To potentially set up a team up there in Darwin.
Yeah, I don't think that'll work. Anyway, yes.
So that was the one that I've heard from a person who is on the chat right now. I won't say his name. His alias would be Brom Choker.
Okay.
Brommy Choker. You know who that is. And he's giving me the heads up that they've got one. The AFL have already sent up a contingency to Darwin. To set up a team there, which will capture all of that northern Queensland, Northern Territory, top end
Darwin,
of
yep.
Yep. I think that is a better option than having another team in Adelaide.
Would you risk another Northern team has no support, no take up?
Yeah, but
They've got Brisbane and they've got Gold Coast.
Yeah, but Gold Coast is a bit of a flaky situation.
What's flaky about it? It's been around for
but
the
it's
best part of 15 years.
Destination. People go in, they go out. It makes it a challenge. Darwin football. They love their footy up there. Absolutely love it. And if they had their own team, it would be But it wouldn't surprise me. Nothing surprises me anymore. The problem is no one will make a decision and go with it, that the AFL would bring in a third South Australian team. Now, if they did call the Redlegs, they wouldn't be able to be called the Redlegs because that's what Melbourne are known as, the Redlegs. They couldn't be red. They wouldn't be red and blue. So I don't know what they're going to do for a strip. Did they have to build a new stadium out in Norwood?
They would probably just share the ground. Or they may use, I don't know, maybe they could be looking at the new Adelaide redevelopment because Adelaide Crows want a new home. Maybe they could be looking at making that a bigger place. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just interested in that conversation because, what will happen? I don't think expansion. I didn't think, honestly, in the next 10 years there'd be an expansion again on top of what we think of the Tasmania getting because the COVID just knocked out billions of dollars.
Yeah. Now, couple of things. All right, the chat's going berserk. Like it's been on fire tonight. People saying send North to Tasmania. No, we're not sending North to Tasmania. All right. I'd probably rather send Gold Coast to Tasmania. I'm saying it now. Don't get rid of an established team. Gold Coast will stay there. My concern is that do they want to live in Tassie? The players want to live in Tassie. They're going to be FIFOs. I don't know. It's going to be a challenge just in Tassie. Like, there's not much to do down there. At least there's something to do in Adelaide, like drive out of it. Go to Perth or go to Melbourne. But I think it makes more sense to have another team in Adelaide. I could see that happening. Now, Craigie Jones, we love Craigie Jones, joins us every week, has an absolute great rapport with us. But he's saying that I'm being a bit petty when it comes to the Redlegs and the Ds. And
no, he's saying Melbourne are as petty as Collingwood pets.
No, we're not. We're not petty. We're not petty. We're not asking for the prison bars back. All right. So we haven't gone down that far yet. So let's just worry about that when we cross it. But I just think that it's going to be interesting to sort of see where they go. Yeah, I just want Gold Coast to play finals. If they play finals, things can happen. All right. But that's interesting news that they're looking at a third South Australian team. It's a massive heartland over there. I think that strip of WA, Melbourne, Adelaide, South Australia into Tassie is massive, and in Sydney with the Swans. Swins are the biggest ticket in town up there, bigger than any NRL game, regardless.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just an interesting bit of news that came out this afternoon, and I just wanted to just get your thoughts on it. It's kind of cool. It is kind of cool. Hey, I got to ask you another one. Here's another news point. The Hawks, are they tanking or not? Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. No.
They're not tanking.
No one goes out there other than Melbourne to go out there and intentionally try and tank a team.
Oh, too easy. You just know you can just stick the knife in me any time when we talk tanking. It's always about the Ds. And it's not about the Ds and tanking. They're tanking, mate.
Hawks are tanking.
They are tanking. They are deliberately setting up their list to lose so they can get better draft picks. And they're doing it as the expansion.
What list have they got?
That's what I mean. Like, we played them twice this year. How cool is that?
But what list have they got, Peps? They've got no list to play in to tank with. The list is their list.
I know, but that's what annoys me more than anything is that they're getting away with it. Like, I know.
But what are they getting away with? What are they getting away with?
They're losing, and they're not losing. They're losing by a absolute shitload every week.
Did you accuse GWS of tanking when they first came in?
They were kids.
This is what they've got. They've only got kids to play with. They've got a couple of stars, but they've only got kids. I'm not prepared to go tanking just yet.
Hawks haven't had a first pick since 2001. Well, you won X amount of flags. You don't get first round picks when you win flags, Julio. So just pull your head in.
I'm not prepared to go with it yet.
I'm prepared to go with it. I'm prepared to go with it. If they're not gunning for the number one pick right now, you've got something wrong with you.
The AFL is set up in a way that promotes that.
Of course they are. The AFL aren't going to come and slam, asterisk Brownlow medalist Sam Mitchell, are they? Of course not. Absolutely not. And I'm getting told to shut up off the chat, and that's how I feel. But when your own club has been done for tanking, well, you're just doing it in just a different way. There's more than one ways to get a number one draft pick, and Hawthorn have found another way to do it. One season, you were putrid last year. The second half of the year was putrid, Julio. All right, so let's just keep it for real for how it is.
I think Sam has been unfairly characterized in this. I don't think he is someone who's going in there deliberately cheating the system to get a pick.
He's gutted his list to a point that the list is non-competitive.
He had to gut a list that was set up by Clarko to fail.
No, he didn't. He did not need to get rid of Gunston. He did not need to get rid of Mitchell. He did not need to get rid of Shields, all these type of players. Like they were still, you've got all these kids and they've got no experience around them. Now, if anybody's ever played in sports where you've got no experience to teach you the ropes, to help you out, you're going to get smashed every single week. And he has set that up for them. How would you be going out? So who do they play this week? We'll have a look at it, right? So this week, they rock up and they are going to be playing North Melbourne. Well, I've got that one wrong, haven't I? Let's go the week after. Week after whoever they've got. Well, it's just hard. They'll probably get smashed by North, by the way. I'm on North. Yep.
Hawks have got, who have Hawks got? They've got GWS, so maybe not again. But anyway, that'll be a good contest.
Might be my game of the week.
All
right. Can I give you one? Yeah, I just think that it's just I don't like the look of it.
Okay, so you think the Hawks are tanking? I'm not prepared to go there just yet with the tanking call.
I'll see how bad it gets.
Okay.
Because it's easy to say it now. You wait until we get into the middle of the season when it's cold and yucky and you're turning up against an on-fire Brisbane Lions or a Collingwood team. They're going to have hungies.
I just think they're just shit peps. Like they've got a shit list. They had to cull shit from the list because they were getting old.
Yep.
They were clogging up spots, and I think Mitchell's just gone, let's play some young kids. Let's throw as you say, let's throw the magnets around and see what happens. Do I think he's positioning for a top 1 or 2 pick? Probably a little bit, but they're not tanking.
Okay. I think it's draft tampering. All right, next one. Let's go on to another one. All right. Okay. Nathan Broad gets 4 weeks for the sling tackle. You think that he would have learnt?
From the week before?
Yeah. So from last week, he got 4 weeks. Now, he's just been to the tribunal, got 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
He gets 4 weeks for that. Now, this is where I get a little bit, it's not right. Because he got a concussion, the guy's out for 4. You have a look at what Pickett did the week before that, gets 2 for a dead set cannonball. They were talking on the back page that if he had done that in NRL, he would have got 8 to 10.
If
Pickett had done what he did with that shoulder charge, in the NRL, he would have got 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think it goes back to your point you've said for the last couple of years. It's outcome driven.
It's not right. And he did pin the guy's arm. He did bring him ground, so he probably gets what he gets. But it's just it makes a bit
also
of a
over the boundary.
Yeah,
he did it, not even on the field of play.
No, it wasn't right. I'm not sticking up for him, but it was just a hard one to swallow when that sort of thing happens.
Yeah,
just got to learn, boys. You just can't do that anymore. Like footy's changed. It's changed.
The sling has been around now for a good 5 or 6 seasons now. You know you can't do it. You can't pin the arm and drop them on their head.
It all started with Jack Trengrove on Paddy Dangerfield many years ago.
Yeah, and I reckon there's also one around Robbie Gray had it happen to him by Mark Murphy.
Yep.
Same thing.
There you go. And 2 players that are no longer with us. Alrighty.
Around. They're still alive.
Oh, yeah. They're still alive. They're just not playing anymore. Anyway, hey, and I don't want to bring this to a negative, but I have to. Jamaro Ugle-Hagan, like another week of just, we bring this up, I don't know how many times a year, J-Dog, but just racism.
Mm-hmm.
Again, racist slurs. If you're listening to this, and you're under the age of 15, pop your fingers in your ears because I'm going to say something, all right? Count to 10 and then pop them out. For everybody who's listening to it, if you were the person who did it, can you fuck off? Because I'm sick of it. There's no place, I don't care who you are, where you're from, where you've been, what you've done. There is no place at all for racism, at least at the footy, where there's kids around. It's just pathetic. And you know what? It says more about you than it says of him. So if you know the person, dob him in because he's an absolute dog, or she's a dog because we don't know who it was. But that's just pathetic, and I'm sick of talking about it. But I have to raise it because if we don't, people will think it's acceptable, and it's not. So I have to say that, J-Dog, because it just shits me.
Yeah. No. Fair call. Fair call. There's dickheads everywhere.
There is.
There's dickheads.
There's two on the radio, on the airwaves right now. Not this show, another show. Hey, rightio. Can I talk about a team that are just lighting it up at the moment? Now, you played them on the weekend.
Please.
I want to talk about what just some of the statistics behind this is. It's mind-blowing. You could
talk about another.
I'm not going to go on about it, but tell me about it. Tell me about the Pies. Just tell me about the Pies, what you saw, because
where do you start?
Tell me about just everything. Just tell me about, did you go to the game? Of course not. Cool.
No, I did not.
You watched it though, didn't you?
The most electrifying midfield forward combos I've ever seen in my whole life. Literally match winners from anywhere, and they didn't miss a goal for about 35 minutes of football. It was unreal.
They are unbelievable at the moment. Like, can I just go through some of this? We could throw a stat behind anything, but this is just after the first 2 weeks. So a percentage difference between the two teams. I've got to throw this in. And by the way, I almost brought the frying pan back to throw myself in it after I've tipped them not to make the 8. We might have to wait a few more weeks before the fry pan comes out for a special one for me. But hey, listen, this is what they've done in the first 2 weeks. Now they're averaging 35 kicks more than their opponents, 53 disposals more than their opponents, 13 marks, 12 tackles on average. This is on average. 7 more goals, 10 more hit-outs, frees 4. They're averaging 11 frees more than their opponents. So they're getting to the ball first, or if they're laying tackles, they're sticking them. Their goal assists, they're 10 in front. So they have 10 more goal assists per game than their opponent, which is usually meaning more people are getting their hands on the ball and delivering it forward. They've got 9 more clangers a game, but when you're pulling off close to 50 plus disposals more than your opponents, and the kicks that they bite off, they're not easy ones. They just we'll kick it into the middle, we'll kick it into the guts, we'll kick it to a 1-on-2 because we trust our system where there'll be people to get that ground ball around them.
They don't care. They will just flood it forward. They don't care.
They've got more, like I said, more clangers. They've got more. They've got less rebound 50s because it's not getting into the opposition's 50. It is just, and their clearances are just mind-boggling. Like, they weren't known as a real clearance team. They've just taken that to another level.
Yeah,
but you take it to another layer down. They average 30 contested possessions more. All right. Uncontested possessions 60 more. They average contested marks 8 more. Like every stat, they're just belting everybody in it. Effective disposals. They're averaging 92 effective disposals. Sorry, 46 more contested effective disposals per game as well too. Inside 50s, they're 13. They're doing less 1%ers, but why do you need to do 1%ers when your team has actually got the ball? Score involvements, they've got 45 more score involvements than the teams that they're playing against. Like, it's the numbers that we haven't seen for... Jesus, do you go far as back as... Well, the Hawks had the cluster. Maybe the 2007 Geelong team.
Yeah,
I didn't think that they could better what they did last year. They are making me and a lot of people look like fools.
They really have turned it on since like the third quarter against that game in Geelong the week before. From then on, it has just been a Geelong. It's just been a Collingwood, even Stevie Wonder can see how well they're playing. They just destroy teams. They won't let you get their hands on it, and they are so accurate, and they've got class everywhere. Anyone can finish a goal on the run anywhere you want to put it.
Remember when we said who they brought in? They brought in McStay. Okay. Mitchell. He's just got better. Like he slots it. Bobby Hill just works.
And McStay's working down there very well because it gives like I think we got half coxed. We didn't get full coxed. We got half coxed, but it gives him a chance to just mark the ball around the 50-45 because McStay is the tall target down there. And then if Cox doesn't get it, McStay is going to go for a mark anyway. And then at his feet, you've got the Hills and those sorts of things running on. The Dacos brothers are literally like, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe them. Is there another character, Peps, from a wrestling reference you've got? Rey Mysterio and
they weren't
whoever
brothers.
it was?
I'd probably go, if I went brothers, you'd go the Hart brothers. You'd go the Hart Foundation with Brett and Allen. Like,
that's them.
Brett and Allen.
That's
like
them.
no one. You could go the Rodriguez brothers, but they weren't. No, but the Hart Foundation were just magnificent.
Well, tag them in, and if you're not looking after one, looking after on the ropes there, trying to like look after it, you're going to get smashed.
Now,
by the
Charlie
other.
Keegan. We're not talking about Ray Batista. We're not talking about David Batista because that's only one. We need two brothers. We need brothers, Charlie. All right. I know you're still on cloud nine because your Bombers are winning. We're going to get into them very, very shortly. But yeah, they're just amazing. Darcy Cameron was sensational. They're fit. They're firing. It's round 2. And the only reason I say that is you got to remember Melbourne won their first 10 last year, and then they fell in a bit of a hole.
Did they? What happened?
There's always one idiot. I don't understand why I keep coming back to you. But yeah, so I look, hopefully they can maintain it. You've got to maintain the rage, but it's still a very, very long season. But from what I'm seeing at the moment, like it's exciting. Good luck for whoever plays them this week. Because
they and Sydney are the two teams at the moment you do want to come across because Sydney have just got the kid brigade and they will tear you a new one. Don't let the ball hit the ground because
they play Melbourne this week. Good luck to them. Yep, they need it. But yeah, they are sensational. Just absolutely sensational. And the funny thing is though, you got to look at the other end, J-Dog. And that's where I'm concerned is where we spoke about this a little bit earlier on is if you have a look at some of the teams and we're looking at the AFL ladder right now. Geez, you got the Hawks who have spoken about. They're on a percentage of 42. All right. Yep. We know but it's the Bulldogs sitting on a percentage of 51. Now, I think North finished on around about between 52 and 58 last year, which was still pretty bad. But the Doggies don't even look like that. They don't want to run two ways. It's all up to their midfield. This, the Manhattan forward line is nothing is working. So I said that there'd be a coach, and I thought Stewie Jew would be the first to go, but Bevo, they signed him up for another 2 years. I was about to say Bevo, but then they signed him up for another 2 years, but we know contracts mean nothing. I picked them to finish top 4. They won't even make top half of the bottom 8. The way that they're going at the moment. They are a shell of themselves.
Yep, I agree. There are moments where you're watching them and you think, the reference is like driving a manual car. Sometimes you get that balance or option accelerator and clutch and it just takes off a little bit. You watch that. You watch a Norton mark, you watch a Norton snap, you watch something and you're like, oh, this is it. This is going to get them going. And then they kick the clutch back in all the way and it's back to bruise-free football. Just to let the team run
the bunny
out.
hop's going. And they are bunny hopping all the way. Suns are just as bad. Like Suns, I don't want to jump off them, J-Dog. But they're not giving me any reasons to really stay at the moment. They should have won on the weekend.
Join us.
No.
Join us.
They should have won on the weekend. At 3/4 time, it was practically even. They had Essendon on toast. No Stringer, no right. No way they should have won that. Essendon come out and kick, 5 in the last quarter? Yeah, that shits me. Absolutely shits me. Because they promise so much. The Crows, I'm giving them a free pass because they had the Heat the week before. The Cats, I reckon they're the first one. I reckon we saw the first signs of how to beat the Cats.
I can't.
I can.
I can't. I refuse to this early
If they
in the
did not have
season.
Jeremy Cameron on Friday night, that could have got ugly.
No, I'm not.
All
I
right.
refuse to.
Okay. I do have to ask a simple question though, J-Dog.
Yes,
Do you
my
know what
friend.
happened on Friday night? I'll tell you.
Tell me.
It was pretty special. It was this. Bags, bags, bags. We love it when they're kicking. Bags, bags, bags. It's gotta be 6 of them. Bags, bags, bags. We love it when they kick 'em. Ooh. And there was one proper bag, and that was by the BOG himself, Jeremy Cameron. In a pretty, I must say, it was a pretty entertaining game between them and Carlton. Charlie Curnow, geez, he's a beast, isn't he?
He makes you feel warm in the areas that make
He's like
you
a
feel
hot chocolate
good.
with 3 marshmallows on a cold winter's night, just wrapped in a blanket and watching the 2021 grand final.
Watching Gilmore
Watching
Girls.
The Gilmore Girls, exactly right. Like he's just, but didn't he put on a show, Jeremy Cameron? Like he was snapping them from everywhere. It was
Can do no more.
He could not have done any more. My goodness, he's the best player in the league. Like I know they talk about Josh Dacos. Anyone can rack up posies, mate, but when you have to do that in front of goal, where you make your money, he does it. A straight kick around the corner, he tails it where it needs to be. Not Harry Mackay style from 30 metres out, straight in front, hook kick. He is an absolute gun. But I will give a shout out to Cole Langford kicking 5, Charlie Curnow kicking 5 as well too. It was just an awesome show. And Logan McDonald, nobody. Here comes Logan kicking 5 as well too. So they were almost in the bag. But I had to give it to Jeremy Cameron because he kicked the only bag. We love it when okay. J-Dog, let's have a look at the games because the games were a little bit all over the place. Really quick run through with them. Thoughts, opinions. All started on Thursday night. Carlton by 8. A belter of a game. 2 Thursday night games that we've had have been okay. That was a proper one. The week before was a snooze fest. More about Carlton or more about Geelong?
Probably more about Carlton because they just had the juice.
They did, didn't they? Adam Sard was magnificent off half back. Like the roof. Every time he kicks it, it's just spine tingling stuff. But they were good and they got challenged and they were able to find a way. And that way was CK. Even Ed Curnow got on it as well too. So it's
their first win against Cats since 2010 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while. It has been a long time between drinks for Carlton to beat the Cats. And you know what? No Gore, no Melbourne, no Stewart, no Geelong. Because it's not just the way he plays, he sets them up.
It's been the case with Geelong for a while now, though. You sort of knew
Not
that.
really. They won a flag last year.
Yeah, but I mean, without Stewart, you see the games they struggle.
Yep. Yucky one. So it'd be cool to see what happens this week and who you think picks who's going to win. But hey, let's have a chat about the Friday night. Lights out. It was an 11-point. Can I say this is the most flattering 11-point loss in the history of football?
Oh yeah, you guys got smashed.
We played 12 minutes of football and kicked five goals in 11 minutes of football. But before that, we kicked 8 in 3.5 quarters.
Yeah, no, that was going out to a 10-goal lead, a 10-goal win easily.
Whoever flicked the switch, give that guy a gold bogey. Because that was the greatest showstopper I've seen. But yeah, they were. Dane Zorko was just everything that Melbourne could do wrong, they did wrong. Everything that they could do right, they did right. What do I mean by that? They couldn't get their hands on the ball. If they did, they dropped it. They were getting contests second. Tackles were slipping, not manning up in the forward line. If it wasn't for Ben Brown, we would have been. It was going to be a nightmare. So I do feel sorry for Brisbane because they dominated Melbourne that night. Ashcroft was brilliant. Zorko was brilliant. They just spread it out across the back line. Okay, but their midfield absolutely slaughtered us, and I haven't seen us that flat for quite a long time. So I don't know. I don't know whether with Gawn going down that caused it to just have that bit of effect on the team, and that's what I think it might have been.
It's not bad though. Just bring in another All-Australian ruckman.
Yeah, I know, but it's a different type where Grundy's more of a ruck rover. Gawn is a kick to take that strong mark. So it's going to
forward. He's a forward option. Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to work out, especially against Sydney this week, but maybe we have to try something a little bit. And the ball movement was so stagnant from the week before where they were slicing and dicing, like I've said, Chen Kenichi style from Iron Chef. It was like me in the kitchen. It was all over the place. It was a complete mess, and hopefully something that we never, ever have to see again for the rest of the season. So they'll learn a lot out of that, that you can't play 12 minutes of football, because that's how the old Melbourne used to play, and we can't deal with that. But Brisbane, I'm giving them kudos. It was, from what they served up the week before to that, a complete 180 of what we've seen previously. Look, we've already spoken about this one. 71 points, Collingwood over Port Adelaide. I'll leave this one for you just to throw in a couple of key points out of it.
Sure. Collingwood, the real deal. Port Adelaide, barley quality.
That's it. You mean solar power, where they're great during the day, but when the lights go out,
it was
generated.
It was pretend football.
It was almost like Freaky Friday for our two teams, wasn't it? Like what we served the week before and the week after that. Adelaide lost to Richmond by 32, which we sort of come to expect. But I think it was a little bit of the Richmond of old. That surge mentality was absolutely sensational for what they did. They were. It was pretty much even Stevens at one stage in that last quarter, and then the Tigers came out. I think kicked the last 5 goals of the game to take it out. So sensational from their perspective. You know, Darcy Fogarty still kicked his 3. Rory Laird, he'll go All Australian again 2 years in a row. Tommy Lynch, most overrated forward, again had another 3. Samson Ryan kicked a bag of 3, a small bag, like a mini bag, for him as well too. But the Tigers, they just had to they have to win those ones away, and that's what they did. So they're going to be a little bit short with no Broad this week.
Bad kicking. Bad kicking for me.
Bad kicking.
Adelaide had a chance. Yeah, Adelaide had a chance.
Well, when you kick 10-16 to 17-6, you've had more scoring shots. You've gone down. What do we say bad kicking is?
Great football.
Idiot. Bad football. All right. Next game. Jeez. We spoke about them a little bit earlier on, but the Western Bulldogs over St Kilda. St Kilda haven't played football like this, I don't think, since the Trevor Barker days. Like they were electric. Their surge mentality, they pressure, they go long. Their foot skills are actually pretty good around the ground, and they're with no memory, no king, and they've kicked 14 goals, 8. Magnificent compared to a Western Bulldogs 5-11 with everybody at their disposal. It was.
You're talking tanking. That's a team that should be almost investigated, Peps.
No, they shouldn't be tanking. They're just shit.
How can you be shit from going from what they had last year, 2 years ago?
They were in a grand final. They were 45 minutes from winning a grand final.
Yep.
And they are nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, Buzz Demiri, yes, Buzz, I'm 47. I do remember Trevor Barker, and he was actually my favourite St Kilda player besides Plugger. So, yes, I do remember Trevor Barker. Absolutely done.
G-Train wasn't your favourite?
No, G-Train was different reason for the G-Train. But Doggies, they've got issues. But St Kilda, give kudos where kudos needs to be given. They're going to miss Steele for a couple of weeks with his broken collarbone. I just think the way that they ran it out, absolutely sensational. And it was their goal kickers. Philippou kicks his 3, first-year player. Owens kicks 3.
Yeah.
Gresham kicked 2. Cordy kicked 2. Calamity kicked 2. Like, it was a spread of – it was new guys coming in and spreading it around. You can't ask for anything more than that. And even their best players, still, he's not Sinclair again, but it was Owens, it was Crouch, Rowan Marshall having another great game, Wood and Philippou. Like, Wood, 2 weeks in a row. Scrap heap with North, back into it again too. So you can't ask for much more than them. But the game afterwards, I could not move from my TV. Fremantle versus North Melbourne. J-Dog, I have to ask you the simple question. I'm asking the listeners as well. Deliberate or not deliberate?
Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. No. Game's blown. Yeah. Deliberate? Yes. Does it matter? No.
It was deliberate as the nights are long.
Yep, but that's the final whistle.
And I totally agree. The umpire didn't call it. The ball hadn't actually hit the ground for it to be out of bounds. They shouldn't have actually got to a point anyway. They were 2.5 goals up with 2.5 minutes to go. But hey, North Melbourne, I love what they're doing. They're risking it. The hyphen, 6 Brownlow votes already. Davies Uniacke. What more can you say about this bloke? The Cheezel. They got Wardlow to come in eventually as well too. Nick Larkey, I've picked him for the Coleman, and I'm looking pretty good at the moment. There wasn't much to really come out from the West Coast side of things. The forward line isn't working. Fife isn't working. I don't think he even played. Did he play on the weekend, Fife? I didn't see him. Jackson is going off to a slow start.
Question.
Yeah. They're just not looking good, mate. Freo are not looking good, and North are doing everything right. So the Clarkson factor actually works. The Lion factor works.
Fife was out.
So that's why I didn't see him. But great to see North. And you know what? They could be 3-0 after this week as well against the Hawks. And I'll be probably tipping them against the Hawks as well, just from what I saw on the weekend. Sydney smashed the Hawks. Do you know that Logan McDonald kicked more goals than Hawthorn did combined?
Right.
That's poo. Again, even goal, Joel Armity had 4 before halftime, had just as many as Hawthorn. 4 goals, 13. They are amazing.
Joel Armity, Logan McDonald. Yep.
They are amazing. Love what they're doing. Will they play Buddy this week against the D's? Because someone has to drop out. Do you bring him in for the sake of it, or do you say, hey, mate, just take another week off, relax?
Take a week.
Just take a week, mate.
Why? Why would you upset a team that's playing as good as they are?
True.
It's like bringing in Davey Warner into the Australian Test team.
A bit of a different backline that they're going up against this weekend. And mind you, they've had Gold Coast and Hawthorn, so it hasn't really been the hardest start. Perfect type of game to get sprung on at the G by the mighty D's. Go D's, I'll be there, 3:20 p.m. MCG Sunday. Hey, got to talk about this mob, Essendon Football Club. Tell you what, the supporters are walking around, 6 foot tall, chests out. I haven't seen chests bigger than the Pamela Anderson video. That is what they're like right now. They are chesty bombs, Essendon supporters. They're walking 10 foot tall, and gee, are they not telling you about it as well too. 28 points against the Suns, who should have won that game. And if it wasn't for Miller, if it wasn't for Rowell, they would be absolutely nothing. But they were sensational. Can I just say, it just goes to show, if you can kick a ball, you can win a game. If you can kick a ball to somebody clear in the forward line, they can become a forward. And if Essendon found a forward in Cole Langford kicking 5.
It's 5-2. 5-2.
Good return for a makeshift forward.
Not bad. 12 kicks, 5 goals, 2 behinds.
Yeah.
Decent. Yeah.
Yep, decent. You can't ask for much more than that. They set him up. Shearer looked good inside 50. They're still going to bring Stringer back. They held him back for another week as well, which was brilliant. Really happy that they've done that to give him another go.
Bringing Matt Guelphy in for Heppel was immediate impact.
Setterfield, brilliant. Like he's found his spot. Redmond, as always. Parrish has got something on, just getting him out a bit. They're doing everything right. Merritt leading from the front. Can't. The competition's better when Essendon are winning. I know I don't really want to say that, but I will, because it is good to see. And the West Coast Eagles, they got back to a win, 19 points over GWS. Like I said, I think they were still a bit fatigued from the week before, and it's a bloody big ground over there at Optus, but they were magnificent out of the middle. Like, it was the West Coast of old, and it wasn't just the usual suspects that set them apart and won them the game as well too. We're looking at people like Kelly. Hasn't been too great for a while. His best game probably he's played since he's come across to West Coast. Jake Waterman kicks 4. Like, Jake Waterman kicking 4. Jones, Cripps was sensational. 3 in the third quarter himself.
Oscar kicking 2.
Flying Ryan, he's had his issues as well too. He gets back in. So it was just good to see. And unfortunately, it was the same old. If you have a look who Greater Western Sydney's best were, Cornelio, Green, Hogan, and Green.
Same.
I thought that was a misprint, but I realised there's 2 greens playing for them. So GWS, I'll write them off for this week. But yeah,
It's
2 weeks in,
interesting.
and it's difficult.
Are you happy to see Cogs back?
Yeah,
playing pretty well.
Yeah. You've got to remember
that's good. I had a soft spot for him after the documentary.
But you've also got to remember J-Dog. Like, he was a almost Brownlow favourite a number of years ago. Like a sneaky. Like, the guy can play. He's finally got his body right. Finally got his mind right. Hogan kicking 3 was exciting as well too. He actually looked like he was able to clunk them. He was on the move a bit more as well. Didn't get to see much of Cadman, so I'll be interested to sort of see that one as well too. But you know what? Good on him. They go back this week. They've got Carlton at Giant Stadium. Well, if you have a look at the games this week, there's a lot of games which are going to make or break teams' seasons. And I'm not talking about top-end teams. I'm talking about that middle rung again. And can I just run through a couple? Because we're about to get in one week at a time and who you're going for. But Western Bulldogs versus Brisbane Thursday night. Doggies lose at their season's finished. Collingwood Richmond. At the G Friday night, there'll be 90,000 there. That's going to be an absolute cracker. I just don't know whether Richmond are going to get Collingwood seats. I don't think that's going to happen. Hawthorn versus North. Could North go 3-0? It's going to be in Tasmania as well too. You got the GWS play Carlton. Carlton may lose. GWS, I reckon that they're a chance. St Kilda versus Essendon, like 2 unbeaten teams. Somebody is going to be 3-0 unless it's a draw. It's the showdown, Port versus Adelaide. If Port lose again, what happens, J-Dog? If they lose to Adelaide,
at this point? Yeah, there'll be some angry people.
Yep. Gold Coast. What happens if Gold Coast beat Geelong?
If Gold Coast beat Geelong up at Heritage Bank Stadium, that would have the alarm bells ringing for Geelong. I think that would be almost that's zipping.
Melbourne versus Sydney at the G, 3:20 in the afternoon. Anything could happen. I think Melbourne will come out firing, but Sydney have had a couple of soft kills the first couple of weeks. But if they do what they've done over the first couple with Melbourne, it's going to be hard to stop. And then Freo versus West Coast. What happens if West Coast beat Freo? You see what I'm saying, J-Dog? Look, there's just a lot going on right now.
It's a good round because you got a lot of teams here. You could be going zip and 3.
Okay. Interesting.
Or something. I like the start of the season. The middle of the season for me, Peps, is a bit like we sort of know where teams are, but the start is kind of exciting.
Gold Coast beat the Cats. Peps will host the show next week in a Mankini.
You've got one kicking around the top drawer.
I do have like a cork in the ocean, Dennis Committee 1992 lace out edition T-shirt. If you're keen to get one, write me a message and I can organise it for you. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very close one, J-Dog. I think it's going to be very, very close. But I think the game of the weekend, the game for me for that weekend has to be Collingwood Richmond. But from an interest perspective, will be Gold Coast Geelong. And David Swallow playing his 200th game. Awesome.
That's true. One of the most handsome men playing football. Look, I'm going to be just biased and say Port versus Adelaide for me. Showdowns.
Hey, look, there's plenty of great football coming up this week. By the way, one other thing, listeners, I've mentioned it in the first couple of weeks. If you want to sponsor a segment, sponsor the show, drop me a message on the Facebook page. We can organise something because we're going out and about. We're getting some massive numbers and you need to get your business out there and we can help you with it too. So let us know. If you want to be part of the show, sponsorship, we've got spots available. Don't be too slow. Don't dread the decision that you didn't do it earlier on. Hey, J-Dog, massive show. For everybody who joined us on the chat, it was absolutely gone berserk tonight. Loved every moment of it. So thank you. Those watching live, fantastic. The guys that listen to this all around the country and the girls and the kids listening all around the world. Thank you for tuning in to Lace Out because we do it because we love you. And that is your round 2 review for season 2023. But there is one question that this host, Christopher Pepper, has to ask my co-host with the most, Jamie the J-Dog Wallis. And it is simply this. J-Dog, my man, the great power broker himself, how do you want your footy?
I want it lace out.
Have a great week, listeners. Tune in for Tipped Out tomorrow evening. Good luck to your team and hope the D's win.
See you, listeners.